regular paper would dissolve in seconds, and that this material survives without any qualification or hesitation.
4,000 folds have been completed, and regular notebook paper fails at 50, making the engineering achievement feel impossible.
In the next 8 minutes, she will show the viewer every secret between these two materials, and that nobody has filmed this before.
At 4 in the morning, before the viewer reads today's news, yesterday's news is already on its way to the mill.
The distinctive smell of new money comes from sizing chemicals bonding to cotton fiber, and the smell does not originate.
Not all of the material qualifies, and that the selection process is more rigorous than the viewer would expect.
The journey starts here.
Glossy magazine paper and coated flyer paper are both rejected, and only uncoated newspaper fiber passes this initial quality threshold.
In metric tons per truck, and 4 trucks per day arrive at this mill alone every single day without exception.
The pH test happens at the gate, and contaminated batches are refused entry before they touch any machine inside the facility.
The shredder reduces everything to uniform fragments, and that maximum surface area is required for the next processing stage.
This handful right here will become part of a banknote somewhere in the world, and that someone will fold it in their wallet. 60-degree water and high-torque agitation over 30 minutes causes the paper not to dissolve, but to separate into its individual constituent fibers. Each fiber is now free and separated and clean, and ready to be rebuilt into something completely different.
The suspension is 1% fiber and 99% water, and that this gray liquid is the starting material for the most secure paper on Earth.
Surfactant molecules lock onto ink particles and lift them away from fiber structure, and that chemistry is doing what no machine can accomplish by separating color from structure at the molecular level.
The water does not stop running until it runs clear, and that no shortcut is taken at this stage of the process.
Hydrogen peroxide bleaching uses the same oxidation crystallization, and the target color is white and not gray.
Fresh cotton linter fiber is the short fiber left after cotton is processed into fabric. It is worth more per kilogram.
The blend ratio is 70% reclaimed newspaper fiber and 30% virgin cotton, and that this blend ratio is the most closely guarded.
Linen fiber provides tensile strength and resistance to tearing, and states that a genuine currency note tears differently from regular paper.
The sizing agent will make the finished paper resist brief water contact while still accepting printing ink, and that this balance is engineered at the molecular level. The fibers are added in exact weight and disperse randomly through the suspension. No machine or human can predict where each fiber will land. The refiner collapses and fibrillates each fiber, creating tiny surface hooks that bond the final sheet together without any adhesive. A freeness below 300 milliliters means the slurry is too slow to form the paper sheet properly, while above 450. The head box is the most critical single component of the paper machine, ensuring uniform distribution of fiber across the complete working width of the machine.
In the first 2 meters of the forming wire, 50% of all the water leaves with gravity, performing the first round of dewatering.
This moment is when the watermark is born, and that the impression is irreversible and unforgeable once the fiber has displaced around the roll's pattern. The security thread is not applied to the surface of the paper, but woven inside it, and that trying to pull it out tears the note, and that this is not a flaw, but the design.
Such roll exerts 40 tons of pressure per meter of sheet width, and in a single nip contact, 30% of all remaining water in the sheet is expelled.
The sheet is now 50% fiber and 50% water, and that it looks like paper but is not yet paper because it needs to be baked in the drying section.
The operating temperature is 160 degrees Celsius, and that the paper travels the equivalent of 2 cricket pitches through 60 Celsius.
The starch souring treatment determines how printing ink will sit on the surface and resist smearing. This establishes the print receptivity of the currency paper.
The machine never stops, and that in 24 hours of continuous operation, it produces enough currency paper for 100.
Every reel without exception is sampled at 9 positions across its width, and that the variation in any measured property across the full width must be less than 2%.
The specification requires 4,000 double folds before failure, and the specific sample achieved 4,002.
3 separate security features are present on one sheet, and that none of them is visible to the naked eye, and that all were created during manufacturing rather than added afterward.
The measurement is 1.24 kilonewtons per meter, and the specification minimum is 1 kilonewton per meter. The sample has a 24% margin above the minimum requirement.
Sweat and hand sanitizer and cleaning fluid and spilled coffee are all challenges that currency paper survives.
An opacity of 88.3% ensures that when notes are printed on both sides, neither shows through the other. This high opacity is an engineered anti-counterfeiting measure.
Even after burning, the paper continues to reveal information. The ash percentage reveals the mineral filler content of the material. Too high a filler content makes brittle paper.
Currency paper is alive in one sense because it breathes. Too dry causes static, too humid causes ink smear. 5.8% is the perfect value.
The sheets are cut to precise banknote sheet dimensions with a tolerance of plus or minus half a millimeter.
And the production system operates at 3,000 frames per second and can detect a 2-micron watermark misalignment on a sheet traveling at 12 meters per minute.
The paper spends a minimum of 48 hours here at a controlled 50% relative humidity, learning to be stable before it meets the printing press. Weight reveals count, and that count reveals consistency, and that consistency reveals whether the manufacturing...
This code traces back to the exact machine and the exact operating hour and the exact batch of raw material used.
From this moment, the reel is sealed against atmosphere. The 50% relative humidity will be maintained until the printing press breaks the seal. From this moment, the paper is treated as if it were already printed currency, because in every way that matters, it is.
The paper enters this facility as paper, and the next time it sees daylight, it will be a banknote.
The same fiber that was a newspaper headline 24 hours ago is now feeding the most secure printing press on Earth.
At the edge of every note, and the cream color is not ink, but the paper itself, and that this is the paper that was watched being made from old newspapers in the mill.
The next time you hold a note, run your finger along the edge and feel the texture. This is not paper.
The warehouse holds enough currency paper for 3 billion banknotes, and the material is waiting and ready to become the money that moves the world.
Dried by heat and tested by science and sealed with precision and delivered under guard, and that the material is no longer paper but trust pressed into fiber.
Production note: every frame in this video has been transformed through the careful multiple stages creative process, from the concept development and GIF planning to VO3 generation and final editing. Human creativity leads every step. This channel is too committed to organical, original AI craftsmen and the policy friendly content.